coach is a key part of a basketball team. With the right coach, you can take a below average roster and turn it into a playoff team. Now on the flip side, with the wrong coach, you can take an above average team and make them a perennial first round exit. Having the right coach for your team's system is crucial, and some teams simply don't have that. Today I'll talk about 3 head coaches who I believe need to be fired. The first coach that must be fired is Jim Boylen. The Bulls are a young, rebuilding team, but it's about time they start contending for a playoff spot. They have enough pieces to win 40 games. Right now, they're on pace to win 31 games compared to 27 a year ago. 4 more wins won't cut it, Jim Boylen. Now, I would understand if they underperformed due to their atrocious defense, and that's not Jim Boylen's fault. The Bulls are an awful defensive team. The only above average defenders on the team are Chris Dunn and Wendell Carter. But the Bulls and Jim Boylen have no excuse not to be, at the bare minimum, an average offensive team. Yet they rank 29th. They rank 29th in offensive rating. The only team that's lower than them are the Warriors, whose best player is Eric Paschall. And when it comes to points per game, they're 24th. The Hawks average more points per game than the Bulls. Damn near Trae Young by himself is outscoring the Bulls. The Bulls with Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Kobe White, Wendell Carter. How many lottery picks do you need, Chicago? And Jim Boylen was never a player's coach. If you don't believe me, let's look at his time at the University of Utah. In his 2 years of coaching at Utah, he made 7 players transfer.
How, sweet?
If that doesn't say something about him, I don't know what will. I know this is always the name that shows up when we talk about potential head coaching hires, but I truly think Mark Jackson would fit with the Bulls. Even if Mark Jackson isn't the Bulls coach long term, he can be the coach that gets the Bulls to the next level. Mark Jackson has 1 successful rebuild under his resume, and if the Bulls hire him, he can make that too. The second coach that needs to be fired, and this might come as a shock, but is Brett Brown. For me, this is equivalent to the David Blatt situation in Cleveland. The Cavs were really good with David Blatt, but they're supposed to be championship contenders. The Sixers are really good with Brett Brown, but there's no reason this team shouldn't be championship contenders. I would argue the Sixers have the best roster in the NBA. I really would. There's no reason this team should be 4th in the East. There's no reason Philadelphia should be 17th in points per game. The Sixers need a coach who can hide their weaknesses and build a scheme around their strengths. The Sixers' weaknesses are perimeter shooting at the guard positions. Now, the way to hide that weakness would be to run pick and rolls. Very few teams have a 4 and 5 that are very capable 3-point shooters. The Sixers are one of those teams. Problem is, they don't use that to their advantage. In fact, they rank last in pick and roll usage, which is exactly why they rank 17th in points per game. If the Sixers ran more pick and rolls, it would allow their guards to go to the paint more and let their big man spot up from 3. Honestly, a great head coach hire for the Sixers would be Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd loves to trap, and he knows how to utilize teams with length. He tried to make the Bucks' identity what the Sixers are now. A team that can switch on defense, they can run traps, they can run pick and rolls. This team is perfect for Jason Kidd. Now let's talk about Luke Walton. How does this man keep getting hired? To put it bluntly, Luke Walton's bad at his job. Like, really bad at his job. The Kings were a very promising team heading into this year after barely missing the playoffs last year. There's no reason the Kings should be 26th in scoring with the talent on their roster. Now, the reason they are struggling to score is simple. When it comes to assists, they are bottom 10 in the league. The Kings have an identity. Their identity is a great backcourt with shooters to complement them. Luke Walton clearly doesn't understand this. Last year, the Kings were successful because Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox were creating open shots for their teammates. Ariza, Bogdanovic, and Bjelica all complement their backcourt very well, but all 3 of them require De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield to create open looks for them. Averaging 23rd in assists clearly shows that Luke Walton doesn't understand the strengths and weaknesses of his offense, and it's showing with their struggle to score. The Kings are statistically worse in pretty much every category this year. Rebounding, playmaking, shooting, but to Luke Walton's credit, Their defense did not get worse. It was terrible last year and it's terrible this year. I mean, let's be real here. What did the Kings expect? They hired their head coach just 3 days after he got fired. Now with that being said, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you guys liked, what you disliked. Give me some video ideas in the comments below. I'll try to upload more. Like the video, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time, which is hopefully soon.